this is something that I've noticed with the racial justice movement. I don't know what to call it. I guess we can call it the movement for Black Lives. But we can also just in the wake of the George Floyd protests. I don't know the term. Ever since George Floyd was killed, and we had this huge insurgent rise in the fight for racial justice. Ever since then, man, I've noticed increased vitriol from progressives towards Trump voters, in particular. Just huge increases in people openly wondering and openly stating, how could you ever vote for Donald Trump? How could you? All right? How you must defund the police with me. You must defund the police with me. Abolish prisons, abolish prisons. People are openly stating these things. It is time to abolish prisons. It is time to abolish and defund the police. It is time for racial justice here in America. Right? This has been the rhetoric, and they're saying if you aren't standing with them on those issues, you're part of the problem. I've heard that people, you're part of the problem. Now, I'm not criticizing that. I'm not criticizing where they're coming from. I get it. I completely get it. I hate prisons as much as the next guy. Hate prisons. Many members of my family have gone to prison. Ruined their lives. Ruined the literal track of their lives, where now they are struggling to feed their families and feed themselves and create success. I get it. I see the disastrous effects. I've been a victim of the disastrous effects with my own experiences growing up where I grew up, growing up as a product of that education system, of that system overall. I get it, dude. This is the problem. There's something wrong with that mindset. There's something wrong with that mindset because it becomes very tribal. It becomes incredibly tribal when you can't, for a second, through all of your anger and your vitriol, I'm speaking directly to the people of the BLM, Movement for Black Lives, all the people out here calling for abolishing prisons, defunding the police, and calling out people on the other side who oppose them. You can call them racists. You can call them bigots. You can call anybody who votes for Trump or who is against you on those principles a bigot, racist, xenophobe, or whatever term you want. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you call them, dude. Because the fact of the matter is, you're missing the point. Because the fact of the matter is, for them, they feel like you're not listening either. It's basic. It boils down to the basic principles that everyone tries to instill in the children, man. When they're like, hey, you have to listen. Listen to other people's point of view. Hear them out. Don't just talk over people, sweetie. Understand where other people are coming from. Have empathy. All that corny shit and the cliches, there's a reason they're cliches. Because it's true. Dude. There's reasons that people voted for Donald Trump beyond the fact that they hate black people or they hate brown people. There's reasons people voted for Donald Trump beyond the fact that they're xenophobic and they're ignorant and they have no clue beyond the little bubble of racism and xenophobia. That's the tool that they use to get them out to vote so that they could spark division. But the core of that comes from the fact that they're broke just like you. Their children can't go to good schools just like yours. They can't afford their health care just like you can. They're not getting paid a living wage just like you ain't. I've been spelling this over and over and over again. I'm going to keep spelling it over and over and over again until we finally realize it. Till all progressives realize it. Till everybody fighting for justice realizes this point, man. Stop demonizing Trump voters. Stop demonizing people on the far right. They're populists just like you, dude. They want real progressive change just like you. Poll after poll shows that Republicans, many of them are still progressive in terms of economic policy, in terms of the core progressive agenda of Medicare for all, living wage, Green New Deal. They support those policies, raising taxes on the wealthy and corporations, saving Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, investing in a welfare state. They support those policies. They support those policies. Many Republicans, in fact, a poll came up from a couple years ago saying a majority of Republicans support Medicare for all. Many Republicans support the tenets of a Green New Deal, support raising the minimum wage, support raising taxes on the rich and the corporations. Many do. And many happen to be the working class Republicans. Many of the poor whites who came out to vote for Donald Trump. The reason why Trump won in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania across the Rust Belt was because he said he was going to bring back jobs. It wasn't about Oh, the Mexicans, they're raping people and bringing crime. That was the tool that he used. But the core message was, oh shit, he promised to bring back my job. Wow. I've been broke for a minute now. Yes. Make America great again. Make me not broke again. That's what it boils down to. And y'all don't see that. Y'all don't see that. Y'all don't see the power in that. We're all human beings at the end of the day, bro. We're all people. We all want the same things. We all want to not be broke. We all want a dignified, decent life where we can live up to the tenets of what this country was founded on: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We all want that, dude. Everyone wants that. Whether you're black, green, blue, purple. So at the end of the day, reaching out to these people is incredibly important because the people in Trump Town, Eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, Appalachia, and Middle America, across this country, man, these Trump voters, the poor whites, the racists, the xenophobes, the whatever, they're decent folks just like you. They want a fair shake just like you do. And Charles Booker was talking about this recently. The insurgent progressive dude who pushed Amy McGrath in the Senate primary to the brink with an insurgent campaign. His slogan was "From the hood to the holler, from the black ghetto to the white ghetto." That's where we have to run. And he said it recently that progressives have to reach into Trump districts. Show up and listen. That's what he said. Show up and listen. Listen to their concerns. Listen to what they're saying, and you'll see, wow, there's a lot of agreement there. Many of our base will. We just have to show up. We have to campaign there. There's a reason why Bernie routinely won many of these middle America states. Routinely won West Virginia, Kentucky, all these primaries because he showed up and listened. He was building a multiracial, multi-generational coalition. That's the blueprint. That's where we have to move. Show up and listen. Stop dismissing these people because they're coming from a different place. They're still human beings. They're still human beings. If you show up, listen, and bring to them a consensus agenda that we all can get behind, anything is possible. That makes us dangerous. That makes us dangerous to all the people in power, all the economic elite, yeah, and the economic and political establishment. That makes us a threat. That makes us an existential threat to everything that their structure stands for because we're coming for them by then. The scariest thing, their nightmare, was a Bernie Sanders presidency because he was going to bring in the blacks, the whites, the Latinos, the Native Americans, all across the country. He was going to break apart the divisions that they try to create. He was going to break them apart and bring all of us together to fight for a progressive agenda. That was their worst nightmare. And that's still their worst nightmare to this day, especially in the middle of this pandemic and depression. They don't want us to get it. They don't want us to finally crack the code. The fact that it doesn't matter about the race. It doesn't matter about where you came from, what God you worship. If you worship a God at all, doesn't matter. What matters is that we all can't get a fair shake. What matters is that we are all oppressed. And if we reach out to those people, those oppressed, disadvantaged communities across middle America where they're popping pills and living in cesspools of violence and hopelessness, if you reach into those communities and you say, hey, we're bringing in a progressive agenda where we're going to fight for a living wage for your family. We're going to fight for Medicare for all so you can feed your kids and have a Green New Deal so you can bring in jobs, have a sustainable energy structure. And we can finally get a fair shake. If you bring in that agenda to that community, a consensus agenda that they can get behind, same as you can, that's scary because now you're reaching out, you're holding hands together, and you're breaking apart these divisions. And you're coming straight for the neck of the establishment. That's scary. That's their worst nightmare, and that's our greatest dream. So it's time, man. It's time to put aside the tribalism, time to put aside the divisions, come together, fight for real change.